evening, everyone. My name is Adam Savino, and I'm proud to be running for election to the Mahopac Central School District Board of Education. Mahopac has always been home to me. I grew up here, and today my wife Claudia and I are raising our two children here, a sophomore and a senior at Mahopac High School. Service to this community has always been a central part of my life. For more than 30 years, I've served as a volunteer firefighter, including leadership roles as chief officer, commissioner, and chairman. Professionally, I spent more than 32 years in the telecommunications industry, where I built experience in leadership, teamwork, accountability, project management, and problem solving. For 6 years, I had the honor of serving as a trustee on the Board of Education. During that time, I worked to lead with transparency, remain accessible to the community, and keep the focus where it belongs, on our students. I am an independent, nonpartisan candidate who believes politics and outside agendas do not belong on a school board. Our responsibility is to work together to support safe schools, strong academics, dedicated teachers, and opportunities for every child to succeed. I care deeply about Mahopac and the future of our schools. I would be honored to continue serving the community and respectfully ask for your vote on May 19th. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Alana Sweeney, and I'm a longtime homeowner in the Mahopac School District, and I've been very active in the community, volunteering on numerous boards of directors over the years. Currently, I sit on the Westchester Medical Center Foundation Board. Education has been a common thread in my professional life, working first as a special education educator and an administrator, and then as an executive in the not-for-profit arena as the executive director of the Police Athletic League in New York City, where I had 45,000 kids with educational programs, youth development, early childhood, and then as an executive in another not-for-profit that I retired from, the United Way of Westchester and Putnam. I also worked in the government sector as the head of a state agency, worked directly with the state education department, sat on regents committees, sat on the state when we developed the state legislation on school violence, and worked with school districts across the state and influenced local, state, and national bipartisan strategies and policies to improve outcomes in education. I'm running because I want to see Mahopac as the #1 educational district in the area once again, while protecting the taxpayer. My resume is available online, and I thank you for having me and hope for your vote.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Jamie Dixon, and I'm running for the Mahopac Board of Education. I'm a proud mom of 2 young children. My son is in 1st grade at Lakeview, and my daughter is in the UPK program right in this building. So the future of our schools is deeply personal to me. My family has lived in Mahopac since 2014, and I grew up nearby in Brewster. I graduated from Manhattan College with a degree in finance, and currently work as a professional liability underwriter specializing in architects and engineers, where I regularly evaluate risk, analyze complex issues, and make financially responsible decisions, skills I believe would be valuable on the Board of Ed. Outside of work, you'll usually find me involved in our community, coaching my daughter's MSA cheer team, or cheering on my son's MSA sports teams. Those experiences have given me the opportunity to connect with so many local families and see firsthand how important strong schools and community support are for our children. I first started attending Board of Ed meetings when my son entered kindergarten last year because I wanted to be involved and informed as a parent, not because an election was coming. And regardless of the outcome of this election, I'll continue to show up, I'll continue to stay involved, and I'll continue to stay informed because being engaged in our children's education in our community is genuinely important to me. I care deeply about maintaining strong academics, fiscal responsibility, transparency, student safety, and supporting student mental health. Mental health awareness is especially important to me because I lost my father to suicide. That experience shaped who I am and strengthened my belief that we need to make sure students feel seen, supported, and safe, especially in today's world where social media, bullying, and outside pressures can have a significant impact on children. I'm also currently in training with the Putnam Loss team, supporting families impacted by suicide loss, which has further reinforced how important compassion, connection, and mental health support truly are. Thank you.
Good
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Vitale, proud lifelong member of Mahopac, graduate of Mahopac Schools, class of 1998. I'm a father of two amazing girls who currently attend Mahopac Schools. They're in the 4th grade and 6th grade. Professionally, I've spent over 23 years working as a CPA, where I built a career working with various small businesses and individuals. In the community, I serve as the treasurer of the Lake Middle PTO for over 5 years now. I'm also the school mascot at certain functions, and I also have the privilege of coaching youth sports, soccer and basketball. Those experiences have allowed me to work closely with families, students, teachers, and community members throughout Mahopac. I decided to run for the Board of Education because this community has given so much to me and my family. I believe it's important to give back through service and through leadership. I care deeply about maintaining strong academic programs, supporting our students, teachers, promoting transparency and communication, and ensuring taxpayer dollars are managed responsibly and effectively. The experience I had as a student in Mahopac School was wonderful. Many of the friends I made in those years are my closest friends to this day. I want to see children today and in the future have the same experience I had here at the Mahopac School and continue to grow this beautiful community. Mahopac is a special community, and I've been honored for the opportunity to serve and help continue to move our forward district in a positive direction. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Mike Mongan here. I'm a current board member, president of the school board, proud 1979 graduate of this Mahopac. And actually, it's come full circle for me now because I actually played the Sandman on this stage when I was in elementary school back in the 60s. So it's a very, very, very big moment right now. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. As an alumnus of the Mahopac School District, this community has always held a special place in my heart. It has been an honor to serve on the Board of Education, and I'm proud of the progress we've made together during my time on the board. I've always believed that we must be forward-thinking and committed to expanding opportunities for our students. This past year, I'm proud of being the first district in New York State requiring financial literacy education in our schools. We all understand that financial literacy is about much, much more than simply just tapping a card. It's about preparing our students with real-world skills and knowledge that will help them succeed throughout their lives. During my time on the board, I've worked to expand student programs and continue exploring innovative ideas for our district. Most recently, I visited Brewster School District and toured their sensory bus, an exciting initiative I would love to bring to Mahopac to further enrich learning opportunities for our students. I'm also passionate about creating a more inclusive environment for every child in our community. That includes advocating for an inclusive playground and continuing to expand our sports programs and extracurricular offerings so that every student has the opportunity to participate, grow, and feel valued. In addition, one of the most important responsibilities of the Board of Education is the selection of our superintendent. I'm proud to have played a role in selecting our new superintendent, Mr. Vincent Brandy, and I look forward to continuing to work collaboratively to ensure strong leadership and positive future to our district. Throughout my service, I remain committed to our taxpayers by supporting financially sound budgets that are realistic, responsible, and make sense for our community while still meeting the needs of our students. More importantly, I've always made myself approachable and available to discuss any topic or concern. I've been restored communication, and I'm fortunate enough to be reelected. I will continue to work and remain dedicated and advocate for our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evan Ewan Food here. The reason I came here to run for the Board of Education is because of once been bullied and oppressed in this county, and even like the freedom of ideals and speech is lost within this school district, or even nearby towns as well. Have a lack of toleration within staffs, even like the building administrators that put this ridiculous no trespass order. Like I would say they consider like a badge of honor already. Really put thought as me as a very extremist views, but in reality, just a simple person
Question number 1, budget. Creating a budget and ensuring financial stability is a critical part of being on the Board of Education. What is your approach to developing a budget, creating ample reserves, and balancing the needs of students and the demands of the community?
I thought a lot about this. I support a thoughtful, well-planned budget, and I think that's what this year's budget is. I do have concerns about longevity with a double zero being proposed. I know we have reserves, but we also know that the reserves are being used or are in specific pots, so when they are used, they can't just be thrown around. I am a little concerned that we are removing over $8 million from those reserves and not intending this year to put any back in. But as a board member, when thinking about budget, since my background is education, not necessarily finances, you can ask my husband, he can attest to that. I would be asking for advice, being thoughtful, asking questions, listening to community voices, listening to fellow board members, listening for experience and also new ideas. I think the budget is a reflection of our district's priorities. I support investments that directly benefit the students, support teachers, maintain safety, and always create very solid, thoughtful programs for our kids.
Thank you.
It's a lot to answer in 60 seconds. First off, community involvement is key, listening to the stakeholders. Line by line is good, providing details, especially upon request. When you're going to present the budget, having the knowledge is power. So provide the detail, take time to explain it, illustrate it, data, and give examples. As Lindsay mentioned, 0% is not considered to be fiscally responsible. At some point, you're going to have to plug that gap of using reserves. And then you ward off the fiscal cliff. We have to balance wants versus needs, build it from the ground up budget, and that's the best way to go. And really look at our programs. Kids come first, and we start building it from there.
I'm responding just a little bit differently. I am happy with a 0%. Microphone, please. Thank you. I am happy with the 0%. I'm not adept at microphones, I guess. I am happy with the 0%, but I think it's just a beginning. I think when you're developing a budget, you start out by listening to everyone and looking at where you are to begin with. You're looking at what's coming ahead of you, what kind of issues may be coming up. Maybe there are different things coming down from the state, maybe there are different things coming through the state legislature. Looking at each department and what the department is spending, what they're doing, how they're spending it, and working with the superintendent to find out what he is seeing on the horizon. And then moving from there. I think we do need to still do some pencil sharpening. The people in our community are all sharpening their pencils. They're all screaming about their assessments right now. And I think it behooves us to look and see where we can sharpen them. Just the other day I was talking to someone, they were talking about the waste. They had worked in the school, things that were being thrown out that worked. Yes, that's a little thing, but it's evidence of something larger that's going on. We have to look closely. Thank you.
I am in support of, the 0% this year. We are maintaining our student programs and while also upgrading some of the facilities that are well needed. Our taxpayers can benefit from that 0%. I know everyone's struggling with a finance degree. I can go through and we can see where wasteful spending is, and my background in risk analysis also is helpful in that situation. But we have to remember the community members and the taxpayers, but our students' success is relevant to our budget.
So my thoughts are, I believe the taxpayers deserve responsible budgeting, transparency, especially with rising costs. Everything's going up in cost, right? The zero tax levy increase can be responsibility to be transparent, accountable, and strategic with our money. As both a parent and a taxpayer in this district, families dealing with inflation, rising costs everywhere. The school board must respect taxpayers while ensuring students receive high-quality education. That requires disciplined budgeting, transparency, and long-term financial planning.
Okay, wanted to start off by just thanking our superintendent of schools, Mr. Mealy, up there, and his leadership team. They've done miracles and worked hard to deliver not only a line-by-line budget, to really look at it and really right-size the budget. I think that's kind of the buzzword now, is to just right-size what our needs are and balance them to what the needs of the students in our schools community are. So the zero tax, I said it last year, and I said it again this year. You evaluate spending, and I think the team has done a great job. We sold the district office. We stirred money away from a lawsuit that didn't happen. Our reserves are over $33 million. Our financial advisor a few years ago advised us that reserves should be between 18 and 22 million. I feel that we are in a position to responsibly give back to this community without compromising student programs. It breaks my heart to see a tired senior citizen at Stop and Shop working just to pay their taxes. We are in a position to do something about it, so why wouldn't we? Our community deserves better.
The current school taxes and budget and the propositions are all too high level. Even tax levies cannot stop that. Even adding decreases or budget propositions cannot stop that. That is why must change it, separate school taxes from property assessment values. And eventually school taxes will become a weapon to steal parental rights, and used by government, any state government, to influence any school district, to influence their child with unnecessary thoughts. Sometimes it is only what the state government wants, and that is why it must change it to a slow transition to tuition base.
Special education. How will you ensure that special education is prioritized in the yearly budgets?
First and foremost, special ed is one of the most highly publicized topics right now. First thing we need to start with is a strategic plan for special ed. We don't have one. We need one. Develop the plan. Develop ways to fund it in the future. Classification of children, check-ins, monitoring student progress, staffing, resources, learning spaces, partnerships, and collaboration. Okay, super important. We've had some hiccups over the years. We need to get back on track and make that priority number one, to get that program back on track and develop a strategic plan. Thank you.
Well, we agree totally. I read through the audit that was done in 2023, and special education is obviously a very strong interest of mine, having spent a lot of years in that field. I too believe we need to get that special education plan finished, and that's a start. You can't budget for something that you haven't decided what it is that you totally need yet. So I'm very anxious to see that plan finished. But then I think we have to take a look even deeper at some of our things. We have about 40% of our special needs students are either English as a second language or economically disadvantaged. Are there services that we're giving them? Are there other ways to be able to give them what they need? Do they still need it through special education? Very probably yes, but are there other things we can do to help? I think as in our budget process, we need to look very carefully at each piece of it, but the plan is the first step.
Special education is very important to me. That includes making sure students with special needs have access to the resources and the support they need to academically to achieve, to achieve. As a board member, I would support a thoughtful decisions that put students first, while also supporting our teachers and staff who work so hard every day to meet the needs of all learners. Creating a safe, supportive, and inclusive environment for every child should always be a priority.
I believe strongly in making sure that every child receives and supports the opportunity that they need to succeed. I believe in strong communication with schools, families, providing teachers and staff with the resources they need, and ensuring services are delivered effectively and respectfully. I think we need to carefully evaluate programs, staffing, and services to ensure resources are being used efficiently while still prioritizing student outcomes. Investing in early intervention and strong and district programs can often improve student success while reducing long-term costs. We should continue to review programs, pursue available grants and state aids, invest in effective in-district services where possible, and focus on long-term planning. At the same time, I cannot lose sight of the fact that these services are about supporting children and their families. A strong school district supports all students. When we create an environment where every child feels supported, respected, and included, it strengthens the entire school community. Special education services help ensure all students have an opportunity to learn and grow.
It's a great question. Obviously, we've spent a lot of time on it this year at the school board level. I foresee an apartment here for our special education students initiated by our incoming superintendent. He has it in his district right now, and we discussed him bringing that vision here. I visited the sensory bus in Brewster for our special needs students that thrive in day in and day out, nurturing an environment. While on the board, was able to obtain a buried special ed audit, special education audit that was held up by the previous leadership that exposed deficiencies in our management of special education. These items are being aggressively addressed through my direction and current leadership. I've developed a chair and chair special ed ad hoc committee so the communication can be improved upon. I've requested professional development for our special needs staff and their development of the IEP process. I envision a unified district that we all learn together. There's no separation on the students. Special education should never be apart from the rest of the school district.
Many people know that special education is important, but there are some categories that need to really be focused upon, such as autism. Some people put random labels like autism or ADHD in random persons. For such a person that might not be very sociable, and they put random labels in that person, or some person that are much more adventurous and they put ADHD. But in reality, if put too much random labels will destroy someone's dignity.
Okay. We need to listen to our teachers, our parents, and our kids. I'm also a parent of a student who receives support services. At recent board meetings, it's proved to me that families do not feel heard. I've heard moms come up and beg for help, and I personally feel like there's not a lot of listening. What we need to do is truly evaluate what our kids want, what they need, and what they deserve. We don't need a sensory bus, we need a sensory room. We need spaces for our kids inside the buildings to feel like they matter and they are taken care of. And that hits so deeply for me that I cannot say that any harder. I have 20 years of experience in special education. I currently serve a population of students on the autism spectrum that are co-located in an integrated food-taught classroom. And we receive a lot of professional development and tools to help them feel seen, heard, and taken care of and valued. Tolerance is not equal inclusion, and we need to say that louder.
3, community relations. How do you separate your personal beliefs and affiliations from your duty to represent the entire community when these may be conflicting at some times?
Yeah, thank you. I think the first thing we need to do is to build a culture of the school from top to bottom, a climate of understanding there and acceptance. And you can start from there. You start to find where you're agreeing. And I've done a lot of work in this area in working with the community and the entire community. What you have to do is to start with where do we agree before where do we disagree. What do we want for our kids? And how will we be able to get there? You don't start that with we disagree with something. You start with where we agree and move. And I've done that successfully over and over and over again, and I think that I can help in doing that with the school system. But I think we need to start internally, from top to bottom, from teachers to people who are and board to people who are working in the school, whether they're cleaning the floors or working in the cafeteria or they're teacher aides, or no matter what they're doing. We need to get on the page, same page there, and then move out with the community and find out, communicate and where we agree, and then come together.
I'm able to keep my personal beliefs separate from this because this is all about the kids. They are the first priority. It's all about maintaining good communication with the community, teachers, administrators, to be successful collaboration. It's vital, and it's all about being a good listener and communicator.
When it comes to community relations, taking this role as a trustee, we're acting as fiduciaries for the entire community. We're acting on behalf of the types that we have to put our personal beliefs aside and focus on what's good for the community, what's good for the kids. It's okay to have disagreement. Not everyone's going to agree, or it would be boring if everyone agreed on the same thing. But it's okay to have dialogue, and good dialogue, not arguments, dialogue, conversations that can build on, that you can maybe see someone's point of view, not just maybe find somewhere in the middle, or get the other person to actually see your side of the thing as opposed to just being closed-minded. So I come into this with an open mind. I have my beliefs, right? But ultimately, what I'm here for is for the kids, for the community. Like I said earlier in my introduction, this community means a lot to me. My goal here is to bring these communities together and bring it back to what it was years ago when I was here, when you were proud to be a Mahopac resident. You had teachers that wanted to come work in this district, people that wanted to move into this district. And that's my goal, to bring that community back.
So this is my third time on the school board here serving the community, which I take great pride in. One of the things that I've always thundered away at over all the years was to kind of turn back the hands of time. And I know it's difficult at times because I remember those days when it was when it was fun. When it was fun to come to school, come to work, and that's really what we want to try to do here is create an environment where people want to wake up in the morning and come here. Whether it's a student, whether it's a teacher, staff member, it's all about just being able to get up and get here, because that's where the most important part of the day is really right here. This is the heart. Schools are the heart and soul of our community, and I think the more that we procrastinate and try to separate things and go into different silos, it just doesn't make any sense. You need to get people here, create an environment that soothes and works well.
Personal belief is much a freedom, but it also depends on whether that belief is for everyone or just a certain group of people. It sometimes usually only means a certain group of people, but I would say sometimes it is best not you like argue with one another. And sometimes even there will be a point that there will be no compromise anymore. If the other side has become more oppressive.
personal beliefs shape who I am, but it doesn't represent all that I am. Personal beliefs and political affiliations have given no place on our school board because we're talking about children and we're talking about education. I know it goes beyond that, but at the foundation of what we're up here representing is we're talking about the kids that we love and hold deeply, hold the dearest to our hearts. I have strong opinions about a lot of things, but I don't believe arguing gets us anywhere. I think the only way that change can happen is, I agree with Joe, that disagreements are healthy, but arguments are not. I think that I'm able to listen and be impartial. I enjoy hearing new opinions and ideas, and I truly love being collaborative. I wouldn't have made it 20 years in the education profession without being that. I am passionate and I'm transparent, and I would love the next 3 years to prove that that word actually exists, that we just don't say it, we own it, and we love it.
A lot of valid points were brought up. Easy way to put it for me would be present, listen, be involved, be engaged. Do what benefits the most, more than the few. Be part of the solution, not add to the problem. Your actions speak volumes. Political and personal agendas have no place in the school board. We just have to go back to doing what's right. It involves compromise. Time and time again, we see it. Sit down and have the discussion, not on a keyboard, not on a computer, face to face, person to person, and we work it out. We sit together, we collaborate, we work together to make a better Mahopac.
Leadership. Mahopac has seen costly turnover in leadership and staff. What leadership qualities will you prioritize in administrators and staff? And what specific steps will you take to support and retain effective staff to avoid a revolving door?
A good leader listens and holds himself accountable for their decisions made. Communication is key with a leader, and most important, students, parents, community members need to be seen and heard and need to feel like they're seen and heard. It's also important for a leader to be transparent with the community, and as a board member, I would hope to bring transparency to the board.
So leadership to me, more than just making decisions. It's about listening, it's about bringing people together, it's about trying to solve problems together. I believe effective leadership begins with being approachable. For many people that know me or don't know me, I'm a pretty approachable person, right? I want people to come to me and discuss their issues, be able to sit down with us, talk through the issue, and set the tone for the board so that people trust the board, people want to come to the board to know that their issues will be addressed, will be heard, and that then spreads out to the entire community. And, you know, I think my role as a CPA, I've been at the same firm for 23 years. I'm not the one that jumps around from place to place. When I get into something, I go full throttle and I stick with it until it's done and make sure everything is done the right way. I know at nighttime, I sleep well at night on my tax returns, that things aren't going to get examined and whatnot, so I think that sets tone for my staff, and you can add other people to that. Thank you.
Leadership. So, the last nine years that I was privileged to serve on the school board, had different hats, wore a lot of different hats. I was the president for 2 years during COVID, which was incredibly difficult. We were able to navigate through that. And then last year, just serving here this last year as president once again. I think I've always made myself approachable and available to discuss any topic or concern. I believe strong communication and transparency are essential to building trust and moving our district forward together. You can always find me after meetings. I'm always available. I will speak to anybody. People have contacted me, texted me, called me. I'm always available. If we're not on the sports fields cheering our teams on, you can catch me up in the booth with Chris Harrigan, because we like to call a lot of games on local live. But leadership is by example, and we have to put the students
first of all, I do not have any leadership traits, and in reality, even this board of trustee position isn't, I would call leadership by any means. Too often the leadership kind of and randomly like throw a word attack, randomly throw around these things that to certain people that doesn't even really make sense.
So leadership to me is being clear, consistent, and having high expectations. I'm reading into this question a little differently. I'm looking at it more from a school lens. That teachers, students, families need leaders who are consistent, have high expectations, and are clear. Having consistent curriculums is important. Knowing what you're talking about is important, but also creating an environment where everyone feels welcome to speak their mind without fear of retaliation. Our assistant superintendent of curriculum is promoting a reading program that it has a foundation in the science of reading. Now, science of reading is not new, but it works. And I think that if we are a smart board and we listen to the people with the expertise that have been hired to give us that guidance, I think our kids will do better and our families will be better off for it.
I'll start off by saying, lead by example. As a trustee, conduct myself, I expect others to set the example. We have had some turnover in the administration over the years. We should support the administration, especially our new superintendent. That's priority number one. Work together to create stability. Inclusion is another big one. We have to make sure everybody's included. So listening to the voices of the community, being accessible, being open, and having the conversations. Experience is another key trait. And incentivize. How do we retain? How do we retain the employees? By offering, making this place a place that you want to come and work. Thank you.
So leadership does not necessarily come easily. It comes with a lot of hard work. It needs to be a partnership of the board with the administrators with the staff with the students, all with the parents, and all working together, all listening to each other. We need to communicate. We need to build a culture where we feel free to say what we believe and feel free that we're not going to be chastised for it. We need to recognize excellence among everyone on our staff and in our leadership. We need to listen, we need to recognize what's right, and we need to support each other. And that's how we build very good, strong leadership within a school system and look and know that it's a partnership from top to bottom.
Question number 5, student achievement. Concerns exist about curriculum inconsistencies across elementary schools and gaps in math and reading. What steps will you take to unify the curriculum and make learning milestones more transparent and accessible to parents?
So, student achievement should always be at the heart of every decision made by the Board of Education. We have a responsibility to ensure that every student has access to high quality education that prepares them for success both inside and outside of the classroom. Student achievement to me is more than just a test score. It's helping students grow academically, socially, emotionally, and personally. Every student learns differently. And our schools should continue to provide opportunities and support that allow them to reach their full potential. I believe in strong communication
on the business aspect and all that stuff. Yes, there's BOCES, but some of the classes that we're missing are some of the real fun ones that I remember growing up with, like metal shop and wood shop, even working with your hands. A lot of kids don't get a chance to do that anymore because we've kind of taken that away. How about a do-it-yourself class? And a lot of kids don't even know how to check oil in a car or how to put the car to get gasoline. So there are a lot of ways to reach all the different students, and I think that's really important. It's the way we reach all the students.
Achievements can be defined by many things, but in my opinion would be like a good character. Even good characters are very hard to develop, but most of those characters, mostly parents gave those good characters to their son or daughters. I am a person that do not have any son or daughter, but I think it shouldn't, even the curriculum shouldn't like force the people like say to do this, or if it do not do it, won't get any grades. It will kind of feel like threatening, and I would say that is not a good parental way or even a good school district way.
Currently, we have Foundations Integrity as programs for our younger elementary students, and these are good programs. They are based in the science of reading. To be a strong reader, you start with phonics. It's that simple, and it just makes sense. But what happens when that doesn't work for every student? We need to have staff with training to meet our students where they are at and close the gap sooner rather than later. We need more interventions at the elementary school level. As parents, we need to know our opportunities, our choices, and our rights for our kids. Being told that your child cannot have a program because there's no staffing or there's no training for that is just not okay. We need to know this, and we need to support good choices. We need to do better for our kids, and I truly believe that Mahopac can. I think we have phenomenal staff. I think we have phenomenal leadership. I think we have phenomenal parents that really care for their children. I think if we work together to make those things happen, we will see the growth that we're looking for.
I want to go back and take the question at face value. Years ago, there was an old adage that you could tell where a student came from when they got to middle school, but based on how they spoke or how they wrote words or the type of math they knew or the way they wrote cursive, which is another story. Years ago, we started making a change to streamline it and make it uniform across the district. If that is not working, we're going to have to reevaluate and look into why. Measurable metrics, charting progress, more oversight, and checking in with the teachers. If there's an identified issue with a specific topic, let's look at it. Whether it be by a committee of parents or educators, do a deep dive, gather the data, and get it out to the public, to the parents.
So I think we need to start at the beginning. We need to look at our preschoolers. I'm thrilled that we have UPK now, but we need to be taking a look and coordinate from those very early stages on. I know we do the grants as the kids are going into kindergarten, but I think we need to align the curriculums early. We need to start catching those kids who are having some difficulty. I think everything we do needs to be science-based, based on what works, what's been proven to work. Sometimes there have been some mistakes made with that. We haven't done it. This is where community partnership can come in. It's not technically part of the curriculum, but you have kids that are falling down, and you know that they're not getting their homework done because there might be issues at home, or maybe the parents can't help them. How can we bring in the community to help with that? Literacy and reading to me are major. If the kids
bridge the gap between math and reading. I hope we can get all students up to grade level by listening to the teachers and the support they need to, because our kids, it's vital for our kids.
Classroom technology. With growing concerns about screen time and declining traditional skills, would you support a district-wide review of classroom technology use? What policies would ensure devices are used intentionally, not as the default, especially in the elementary and middle schools?
Oh, gosh, I'm so sorry. Well, I think the most important thing is to follow the science. You know, when you have a student down at the lower grade levels that has an Apple Watch on, in third grade, there's always there's just distractions. There's distractions with the phones, obviously. There's distractions with screen time. I think when I first started with the school board, we were doing the Chromebook initiative because we were trying to initiate opportunities for being able to kind of lighten the load and get a little bit better with regards to kids carrying around these obnoxious, backpacks that don't fit in any lockers. So the Chromebook was going to be a nice resource for teachers and students to be able to streamline homework, make sure that it gets done, make sure that there's questions and there's answers. What I've seen right now is I think we've gone a little too far in the amount of devices that are out there, the amount of screen time. Kids go to the class right now and it's like they open up their Chromebook or their iPad and they start. I think we have to get back to more one-on-one, more eye-to-eye contact, more social. Thank you.
I am not really worried about people using their individual devices. I am more worried about state mandates attempting to ban those individual devices and school districts still providing their own devices. And will be like a public school district that provide devices, but ban individual devices. Why not just school district doesn't provide any devices and let them bring their own individual devices? Because literally these days state mandates could let the school district have tracking each individual ideas these days. As that's one.
I support opportunities for students to be exposed to and engage with technology in our schools. However, a computer program, in my opinion, can never replace a good teacher. COVID taught us this, and we should learn from it. We should not be falling into a trap and find ourselves being bought out by tech companies who have really new cool programs that are really flashy but really do nothing to help our kids. I have seen the amazing opportunities that Mrs. Boris has brought to Lakeview and her STEAM opportunities, and the kids go crazy for it because it matters and it works. New science studies are coming out proving that computers and the amount that we're using computers in the classroom are actually detrimental to our kids, not helpful, and we should really pay attention to this. If we're talking about listening to science, we should listen to that science too. Technology is an opportunity to enrich and supplement, and should never be used to replace.
Screen time is a big issue. Increasingly getting worse as time goes on. We need to look into other media sources, alternatives, instructional means, compile data, positive and negative effects on technology use. It's not that we're taking a step back, we're going back to what we know worked. And that hands-on instruction with kids, building the relationships, getting them invested, is huge. It's huge for me as a student. I wasn't a seer, I was a doer. If I can do it, if I can touch it, I can work with it. Seeing it on the screen doesn't work for every kid. Okay, so getting adaptive methods to make sure every kid has that opportunity. So would I support a review? 100%.
So I think technology needs to be grade appropriate. In the younger grades, it really is not a place for it. Very sparsely used. It should not be used to deliver instruction, but rather just be used for pedagogical purposes. It should support learning rather than replacing foundational skills. We might want to consider something like flipped instruction as a technique. The important thing, we need to be nurturing communication skills and relationships and the ability to work with other classmates. For the most part, when you're using technology, those skills are not being worked on. So I think we should be using the technology sparsely in specific instances. You may need it in some of your engineering things or some other things, but I think that it should not be used to deliver instruction, but only be used for the pedagogical purposes.
Technology is important. It's the way of life. I sit on a computer all day long. However, technology for our students needs to be limited. They need more hands-on learning. They need to be able to have good writing skills. I would love to even see cursive come back because it's a skill that, it's unheard of now. So technology is important, but it needs to be limited, especially in elementary schools.
So to answer the question first, would I support a district-wide review of special technology? And I'd say yes, it should be reviewed. They should constantly look at to make sure that it's being used effectively for the students. Technology has become an important part of everyday life. Right? We all use technology, right? But it shouldn't be there to replace education. It should be there to work with help, enhance education where it's worked. Like a lot of mentioned, age appropriate. The younger ages, tough for them to kindergarten, first grade based on a Chromebook or an iPad. These days they're probably used to it from being at home having them, but it's not a way to replace education. So I feel strongly that it should be reviewed and that technology has its purposes, but it's looked at to make sure it's effective for the students and learners, and not to replace teachers or instruction, etc.
So this is the final question, and it is a general question. What motivated you to run for the Board of Education now, and what interests or goals would you represent? What do you consider to be your main goal if you are elected to the Board of Education?
The main reason of running for the Board of Education is because of past oppression from the county levels, school district levels, or town levels, even state levels sometimes. But notice the current system really loss of freedom, and really the main goal for the board is freedom, the very foundation of the creation of the United States of America. And as well, if there is no simple life, then there is really no freedom at all.
I'm motivated to run because I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a leader, I'm an advocate, I'm a model, I'm a role model. I want to show my kids, and hopefully other kids, that when you see something you have a problem with, you stand up for it, you say something, and you act on it in a way that can make change. You don't sit behind a computer screen and complain about it, or talk about it to your friends, and continue to listen to the problems but do nothing about it. So I'm up here tonight asking for your vote to trust that I'm here for the right reasons and that I'm willing to listen to you. I think our board needs better collaboration, we need better communication. My goal for this board is to have a better relationship with the community, with the administration, with staff. We feel that we are finally a collective whole that is working towards the same common goal and not fighting against each other for one reason or another. And I'm going to continue to repeat that our personal beliefs and politics have no place in the school board, and that's the only way we will ever truly collaborate. Thank you.
Service has always been the center of my work. Through my career, fire department, and our schools. I remain actively involved in the community and the district. I believe leadership is showing up, listening, and taking responsibility. Mahopac School shaped who I am. That experience is why I chose to come back here and raise my family. That's why I'm committed to giving back. I'm running again because there's still important work ahead. Our district needs steady, experienced leadership focused on results, collaboration, and earning trust. Good decisions come from asking the right questions, listening to different perspectives, and following through. That's the approach I bring and will continue to bring to the board. My priorities are clear. Students first, maintain safe, stable schools, operate with transparency, and ensure fiscal responsibility. Thank you.
So I've thought about running for the board for years, and I was dissuaded for years, and this year became the right time for me for personal reasons. When I moved to the district, we moved to this district because it was the best in the region. And now it's a very good region, it's a very good district, but I want it to be the best in the region again. And I think I have skills to help make that happen, working with the rest of the board, working with the administration, and working with the community. The board is the liaison to the community. That's one thing I've seen lacking in this district, that our community is considered to be the parents and the students and those who are working in the school. And very often the rest of the community is closed out. I think they have a lot to give. I think we can bring people together, working together, we can do so much more for the district and for the taxpayers. You know, we have almost as many senior citizens in this district as we have over 65 as we have students in the district. I think that we can meet the needs of everyone, looking at a good, strong budget that helps the kids, moves us forward, and reflects the needs of the taxpayers.
I'm running because of the kids. They are the future. They are our future. I'm running because I believe parents should have a voice, students should always come first, and our schools should reflect the values of our community. Like I said earlier, I care deeply about maintaining strong academics, fiscal responsibility, transparency, student safety, and supporting student mental health. I look forward to working collaboratively with parents, teachers, administrators, and the entire community to help ensure every student has the opportunity to succeed. Thank you. Please come out and vote on May 19th.
So as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, Mahopac is home to me. This is where I grew up, this is where I live now, this is where I'm raising my kids. It's a very deep roots in this community, and I want to make sure that this community stays the way, gets back to the way it was, where it's a community where people want to live. Kids are the main part of education, so I'm with the kids, making sure that kids have a safe environment to be at school. I feel that my community involvement, my professional skills, my involvement with coaching, all those skills put me at a place where I think I can be a valuable member to the Board of Education, where I can help this community grow in a positive direction. I'm coming in with an open mind, but I'm coming in with the fact that this community is the most important thing here, and being a board member, have that fiduciary responsibility to make sure that I'm acting on the best interest of the entire community, not just any particular person or idea. Thank you.
So 10 years ago, when I decided to run for the Board of Education, I wanted to run because I was really disappointed in our facilities. We did not have very good sports fields. We didn't have proper lighting. We didn't have, we had issues with all the schools. Our newest school is middle school, which was back then was the junior high school, and that was from 1973. So I got on the school board with the hope that I was going to be able to do something special for all of our facilities and all our schools. So I was one of the architects of the $54 million bond that was passed and was initiated over the last several years, bringing spaces, media spaces, converting libraries, vestibules, safety vestibules, and so on. We got more new fields out of it because we have a lot more sports teams, more opportunities for unified sports. That's what really motivates me to this day for our student